So, Kimmi, you knew that your son felt that his stepfather may not like him. Kimmi, you knew that your son felt that his stepfather, your husband, was harder on him. Kimmi, you yourself felt that Maurice was too hard on Jaylin, and you did nothing about this, no conversation. Why are we just now having this conversation when Jaylin is grown with a degree and out the house? What's up, everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. We are here to talk Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 10, episode 3, More or Less the Favorite. If you guys are brand new to the channel, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, and then leave your comments down below. We are on the road to 45,000 subs. We are super duper close. So if you haven't already, please do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. So we pick up right where we left off, where Ken is yelling and screaming at Marquez in an attempt to make Trisha happy, because we know that Trish likes the toxicity. We know that Trish likes this. We know that Trish wants to see these two men fight over her, which is why she herself has done nothing to step in and try to mediate and to try to get this relationship, this co-parenting relationship with Marquez going. Yes, Marquez is a part of the problem, but so is Trish. As I said last week, Trish is the root. Trish is the nucleus of the problem. She is. So Ken is jumping up and down trying to get Marquez to leave. So Xavier, the adult in the house, comes downstairs just as Marquez is leaving. But hey, the kids aren't traumatized. This is normal. You know what I mean? I too. I mean, didn't you, as a child, walk downstairs while your family is filming a reality show? And your mom and your pseudo weirdo stepfather, I guess, is yelling and screaming at your father for being in the scene, and then there's another random woman. Like, this is normal. Why would they be traumatized? Ken, you're correct. Everything's okay. So Kimmi is calling Tisha. She wants to get all the ladies together so that the ladies have not seen each other since LA. It's so interesting to me how Love and Marriage Huntsville, they refuse to acknowledge that it was the reunion. Every other reality show is like, yeah, at the reunion, at the reunion, at the reunion, at the reunion. Love and Marriage Huntsville always just says LA. Y'all were at the reunion. We know what y'all are talking about. So Kimmi and Maurice have a date night at their Airbnb around the fire pit outside. And she was saying how she went over to Jaylin's house and she was hanging out with him. And he's like her bestie, and things have changed with their relationship since he graduated college. They probably have, a closer relationship. She talks about how Jaylin has reservations about them having this family business, and it's because the kids, Junior, because I'm not calling that young man monster, Maurice Jr. and Jaylin, feel that Maurice has like a dictator vibe. And apparently, Jaylin doesn't even look at Maurice as a father figure. So we get a flashback of Jaylin saying that Maurice felt more like the homie. I said, child, not the homie. And said that he looked to Marsau more as his father. Look to Marsau more as a father figure. Here's the thing. As much as we get on Marsau, I can see that. Right? Because I do think that Marsau took the time to actually talk to Jaylin as a person. Right? As much as we feel that Marsau was a horrific husband to Tisha, outside of him not knowing that MJ had that little peanut allergy years ago, we haven't seen anything, or should I say I haven't seen anything that would constitute as Marsau being a horrific father. So it does make sense. We see that Maurice is not involved. He's not involved in Junior's life. Kimmi does everything. Oh, okay. So Maurice said this feels like a gut punch. This wasn't a shock to you, Maurice. You knew what it was, but now he wants to talk to Jaylin. Jaylin's what, 25, 26? Leave that grown ass man alone. Leave him alone. So Nell and Fletcher. So Chris, in this wicked suit he has on in the confessional, sending me. But they want to get more stars for the daycare because apparently the more stars that you have, the more funding that you are able to receive. So Nell lets him know that Kimmi has invited her out with some of the other ladies. And she really doesn't know where she is with Tisha since the reunion, but she wants to go and see what's good. Nell then goes on into this counseling bullshit about how, I mentored and I counseled Destiny. You know what I mean? I stayed up with her late nights, and we know now you are the resident counselor, you are the mentor, and everybody should bow at your feet and address you as such. I feel like Nell and Chris have this thing in their head where they feel that they are the elders of the cast. So it is up to them to impart wisdom on these people. And I feel like what the average person is taking as a conversation, with Melody and Destiny and maybe Tisha are taking as basic conversations with another woman on some woman to woman, mother to mother type stuff. Nell sees that as billable hours and that this is me counseling you. And that's the problem. That's the disconnect. She thinks that Destiny misses her. I don't think she does. I think that Destiny does not have anybody else to film scenes with, and she don't have Melody to sit and bitch about. So yeah, now it's gonna come after you. So Nell feels that Destiny is still upset that she invited Sunny to her party. You knew you had no reason to invite Sunny to the party though. Sunny's not even on the show anymore. Nell, y'all were forcing Sunny down Destiny's throat and down ours, to be quite frankly. And there was no reason for it. You ruined your relationship or whatever you had with Destiny, all because you wanted to be messy and try to make a scene. So we see Kimmi, Nell, Trish, and Tisha. They are out to dinner, and Destiny was invited, but she's out in the TikTok streets. So I guess she must be selling something on TikTok. Maybe it's the candles, okay? So Kimmi said that it was pleasant calling everyone because Nell answered real excited. So she wants the group to get to know each other a little bit more, because now that we don't all have one person to hate and to talk shit about, well, we got to figure out some storylines. So let's all get together so we can find out dirt on each other, and then we can have beef, basically. So Trisha is talking about her version about what happened with Marquez. She leaves out a lot of very important details. The way that Trisha tells her story is that Marquez came in and was being real rah-rah with them, and that he said that that their children's names weren't on the paperwork. He said that you didn't list that y'all had minor children. There is a difference. There is a difference. Trisha's not stupid. The way that she chooses to phrase things when she's talking to everybody else is to kind of hide that she does place some thought in this. Because if Trisha wanted that fucking divorce, she would have that divorce by now. She would have it. It's not Marquez holding up that divorce. Y'all are crazy if y'all think it is. They've been separated for X amount of years. Trisha could have been took her ass on down to the courthouse and got this paperwork filed. Remember, she's the one that kept saying, oh, it's complicated, it's complicated, it's complicated. Until we were like, get this weird ass heifer off the show. And now all of a sudden, now there's issues with the paperwork. It's Trisha. It's Trisha. Kim, and she then says that, Kim got mad when Marquez got disrespectful, and that's when they when it got physical. And I'm like, okay. Kimmi then tells the group that Jaylin feels like Marsau is more of his father figure. And Tisha's like, oh my God, it's just because Jaylin worked with Marsau at Scold and then, at Black. And, Marsau is always saying that like Jaylin is like his oldest son. So Kimmi is like, Reese is very hands off. He's very, very hands off. We know he was hands off with his own damn son. You don't have to convince us, Kimmi, that when you and Maurice got together and Maurice moved into your house, Okay. When Maurice moved into your house, of course he was very hands off. I'm sure that Maurice was saying, that's not my son, until he wants him to do something around the house that he doesn't want to have to do himself. So Tisha points out that Jaylin needed to get comfortable with Maurice and not just have Kimmi kind of relay things to Maurice. And that just comes from a lack. This is everybody's fault, right? Mainly Kimmi and Maurice's, because those were the adults. Though, Kimmi, this is your child. So the fact that you didn't pick up or you didn't want to do what you could to make your child comfortable with Maurice as his now stepfather, this man that's now living in the house, that is disciplining him, that is giving him advice, all this type of stuff, this falls on Kimmi. So Nell then said that they left LA right away because Lance had got a call and had to get back because he had a baby on the way. So Nell was like, I didn't even know that Lance knew that. I don't think that Lance knew that the girl was pregnant. You know, Lance, was it his wife that he was separated from, but they must have spun the block one night, and that's who got pregnant. She then points out that Chris Jr. has a baby as well, and that the babies are 5 months apart. So Tisha was like, yeah, because I was looking at you now, like, I don't know why you would have, forced Destiny to date Lance when you knew he had a baby on the way. And I was with Nell. No. I don't know what Lance is doing. That's the thing. And this is why a lot of this, like, Tisha be trying to be shady, and she just sounds stupid majority of the time. Nell doesn't know who the fuck Lance is fucking and when he's doing it. How is Nell supposed to know that Lance went over, his ex-wife's house probably one night at 10 o'clock to do something with the kids or whatever, and they ended up fucking? Like, come on. So Nell was like, well, I don't know what he does. And two, Nell felt that Destiny was a red flag before that. I had reservations about her before that. So Nell said, look, I got questions. Y'all want to ask questions? Let's ask some questions. Nell said, how do you feel about what Martell said about your husbands in that interview? Everybody's eyes get wide because, oh my God, how dare somebody question us when we've been trying to get in everybody else's business? So Tisha was like, well, how did you feel about it? Nell said, I was blown back by it. I was taken aback. Kimmi said she laughed because it wasn't even believable. Then said if it was believable, look at Tisha, look at her. It's not really about looks though. And y'all know that. Y'all know that a man, Halle Berry's been cheated on, Beyonce's been cheated on, Janet Jackson's been cheated on. It's not always about looks with men, and y'all know that. Y'all know that. But if that's what you got to keep telling yourself, Kimmi and Tisha, to try to ignore the fact that there are so many rumors about what your husband's been doing behind your back, I guess. Whatever helps you sleep at night. So Tisha then said that her and Marsau did a Instagram live about it. And if you want to know, go watch her live. But said no one is going to create her story for her. Your story is that you're a fool, Tisha. Your story is that you Tisha then said in her confessional that she is an open book. No, you're not, because you won't even answer this question right here. But she then feels that Nell is not being very transparent. None of y'all are transparent on this show. The only people that have truly been transparent on this show are Martell and Melody, because they told all they fucking business. But when it comes to the rest of y'all, none of y'all are transparent on this show. None of y'all are honest about everything. Everybody is hiding behind everyone else's storyline. Tisha said that if there is a problem with anyone at this table, we need to be making it clear and known to that person. She thinks Nell has a problem with her. Nell said, no. If I had a problem with you, you would know. If anybody had a problem, y'all would know, because I would be vocal about it. Tisha said that she told Kimmi that, I just don't know about the Fletchers, because Chris told Melody in that scene that the NDA thing sounds like what Maurice and Marsau do. Kimmi said, well, Maurice felt the way about that because he thought that him and Fletch were cool. So Maurice feels a way that his truth is being brought to light. See, there's always been rumors about what Marsau has been doing. I feel like it's gonna be some shit coming with Maurice, and Maurice is trying to get ahead of the rumors that are about to start. So Trisha's having a Western themed birthday party. Y'all about to wear some cowboy shit out, ain't y'all? Everything is Western themed. My God. My the church that I went to, my childhood church, I got an email about their church reunion and it was Western themed. Why? Why? Oh my God, you can still do boots on the ground without everybody wearing a cowboy. God. So Maurice and Jaylin. So they go to the pool hall. Jaylin is now working in IT. I'm assuming that's what his degree was in. But he's been applying to work and he wants to get into cybersecurity. So one job that has reached out back to him is in Colorado. And he said he wants to try to figure out a new path. He's been in Alabama his whole life. He's been, with his mom his whole life. And he wants to go out, venture off, and, see what's what. Maurice is like, and you have to leave Alabama to do that. Nobody wants to be in Alabama. Nobody wants to be in Huntsville. He probably wants to get away from y'all and get away from being on the damn show. That's probably why he wants to leave. Go forward and prosper, Jaylin. Go. So Maurice asked him about his thoughts about the family business. Jaylin said, well, I was hesitant because I know the Scotts very well. He said there is a tendency towards him that they always just tell him, go figure it out, go figure it out. But when it comes to Maurice Jr., things have been different where he had to make sure Maurice Jr. was okay. He had to go pick him up. He had to do a bunch of stuff for him. And he feels that Maurice Jr. got more leniency than he would get. Jaylin said there would be times where Maurice would come in and he would make Jaylin get up and go do something, but his son was sitting there playing video games. This is the same thing that's repeating itself, the same cycle, right? From where we heard that Kimmi was having issues getting Junior to listen to her, and Maurice was like, well, you just have to to make him listen. I don't get it. Like, why did you want Junior down there if you weren't going to actively parent him? Because it really just gave, I don't want another man raising my son if he stayed with his mama up in Michigan because his mother was now married. That's what it was giving. Because if Kiowa would have stayed a single woman, I don't for 1 minute think that Maurice would have been trying to get that boy down there. So in his confessional, Maurice is saying that, you parent children differently because you expect different things, and in this case, it worked. So Maurice is asking Jaylin, do you think that I gave more love to Junior? And I was with Jaylin, hell yeah. Jaylin was like, I'm not your son. Maurice is like, you're not? I'm not your actual son, and you know that. So yeah, there is going to be a difference in the level of love. So Maurice wants to know where he failed as a parent, not being fucking present. Maurice, present doesn't just mean physically, it means emotionally, it means mentally as well. You clearly weren't there for Jaylin in the way that Marsau was. So Maurice, so Jaylin then said that he helped with, learning manual labor. You taught me how to change a tire, how to change a toilet seat, all of that type of stuff. But I just looked at you as more of a mentor. And I gravitated towards Marsau for more of that father figure aspect. So Jaylin goes on to say that it was also him, and I think that this was Jaylin just trying to spare Maurice's feelings, but Jaylin was like, it was also me just not wanting to get too attached to you, and I was protecting my feelings as well. No. That man did not try to bond with you in that way, Jaylin. And so as a child, you felt, okay, well, maybe he's not trying to bond with me because he doesn't really like me. That's what it's given. Don't try to protect his feelings on camera. Tell him what it is. So Maurice said that Jaylin was his son by choice, his kid by choice, because he chose the relationship. And again, instead of Maurice just saying, I'm sorry I was not there for you, I'm sorry I didn't do this, I'm sorry you couldn't feel that way, you're still trying to make an excuse for yourself. Maurice is such, ugh. So then we get to Ken. Ken is meeting up with that same friend who was over his bullshit and Fletcher. And they're talking once again about Marquez. So Ken is like, he walked. So now Chris is talking, Ken talking very quiet. And he walked in the house, with his daughter, just walked in my house. I wasn't there. So I don't know what happened. I was on the road. So his friend was like, so if he walked in with the daughter, maybe the daughter walked in first, make sure his daughter got in the house okay. So Ken is like, well, I feel that Marquez is playing on my niceness. Like, I'm a nice dude, you know what I mean? But we haven't heard from him since he left. I'm trying to cater to Marquez's emotions and Marquez's feelings. And I was with Chris. Why? Why? You aren't trying to marry him. You're trying to marry Trish. So then Ken is like, most people move on and then they get the divorce. And Fletcher was like, yeah, but it don't take 7 or 8 years. So now Ken gets real about it. Well, we don't have no issues outside of Marquez. We don't even argue. Marquez is the issue. We don't even argue. And I'm like, no. No. I think y'all do argue. This is not solely a matter of this is not solely a matter of Marquez comes around and y'all have issues. Y'all have had them issues because she didn't want to get divorced. Because again, we can say that this is Marquez all we want to. But if Marquez was out of the picture for X amount of years and she hadn't heard from him and he wasn't coming around and doing for his kids, Trisha could have filed a fucking divorce. What is it, like, not no contest or non-contested divorce, and they asses could have been divorced. He could have been served. It could have been notices in the paper. So stop that. Trisha is the reason that y'all have issues. It's not Marquez, it's Trisha. So Ken gets all loud and defensive because his friend was like, so is this just a challenge to you? And you just want to make the challenge work. Like, it's like you're trying to solve this puzzle and you won't stop until you are able to fully solve the puzzle. And Ken is like, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. Y'all just don't understand. Y'all don't understand. I didn't have to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't around. Why don't y'all understand what I'm saying? Okay, this is life. Life is a puzzle, right? Life is a puzzle. And life is a challenge. Do you just wake up and be like, oh, it's no challenge? Or do you, and it's like, you sound stupid, Ken. Because what it gives is you like to find women that are challenges. You like to find women that you in your eyes need you. So you can pay, so you can give them stuff, so you can feel like the big nigga in their life. And that's the issue. That's what it is. You do see Trisha as a challenge, and that's why you're sticking around with this. So his friend was like, sometimes you got to put a puzzle back in the box. Ken was like, no. My puzzle has all the pieces, but Marquez is the extra piece. And his friend was like, at this point, it's your fault. And I agree. I 1000% agree. You don't know how to see yourself out of the situation. You're choosing to be miserable at this point. Because honestly and truly, you could just say, Trish, I'm going to fall back for a little bit until y'all sort this out and y'all get y'all divorced. If Trisha really wants your ass, she will make sure that this divorce goes through with Marquez and y'all can get back together. You want to be a part of this. You want this dysfunction. So Ken said that he's with Trisha because he loves her and knows that all the things they put in place will work. It's just that Marquez is in the way. How was Marquez in the way? Trisha It's stopping your forward progress. Because again, we have not seen one scene where Trisha and Marquez have gone to some type of mediator, some type of lawyer or judge or anybody to get the divorce to move along. If she wanted to, she would. She would. So Kristen asks Ken's friend, what would you do if you were in this situation? And his friend said Trisha would have been in the past because the trouble is not worth it. So then we get over to the Scotts, and this was a good scene with them, where Kimmi and Tisha, I guess, both got that ugly ass denim coat with the fur. Ugh. So Maurice, they're asking about, MJ, and MJ just got his National Honor Society paperwork and his credentials, and he's going to update his resume or his college applications because he wants to go to Michigan. So they start talking a little bit about DEI and all that type of stuff. So we switch over to Jaylin. So Marsau mentions that Jaylin came by the office earlier, kind of asking for some advice about contractors and stuff like that because he has a rental property as well. And we get a flashback of Jaylin and Marsau talking, saying that he looks at Maurice as a big brother. I hollered. Not a big brother. Oh Lord. He said that him and Junior were treated differently and that Junior can do no wrong. So Maurice said, well, he thinks of you as a dad. And Marsau said no. He said father figure, which is very different than a dad, which is true. So Maurice said that he has treated Jaylin different because he's older and the younger siblings look up to you because when the parents are gone, the older siblings are in charge. And I'm like, but Maurice, that doesn't make sense. Now, I grew up with an older brother, so I am the youngest. Were me and my brother treated differently in some respects because we're a boy and a girl, so we have that. But as far as like overarching discipline and stuff like that, we weren't. We weren't. We had the same rules when it came to major things like that. The difference is you were harder on Jaylin and you wanted to give your son the free, easy ride that you probably felt that you never got. That's what it is. So Maurice said that you don't give correction until correction is needed. So in his eyes, when he finally did correct Jaylin for something, it was because Jaylin needed it. So Maurice Jr. doesn't need any correction at all. Wasn't this the same? Wasn't this the same little boy that didn't want to clean up, that didn't want to do what he was supposed to do, that wasn't doing his homework, that wasn't doing all this stuff that we had to see Kimmi handle as the stepmother? So Kimmi then said that she felt that Maurice treated Jaylin differently as well. So did you voice that to him? Did y'all have a real conversation about it? Or did you say it once to Maurice? He kind of, glossed over it and you went back to watching him mistreat your child. She then said that Jaylin feels that Marsau actually liked him, and that's why they have a better connection. So Maurice tries to interject with but, and Marsau lets him know that when you start off a conversation with but after we just made a statement, you're defending your position instead of listening. He then goes on to say it's hard enough to talk to you sometimes without you doing that. So Marsau said, look, I understand Jaylin because I grew up with the golden child who is Maurice. Maurice gets defensive, and it really gave Tyler Perry School of Acting in this little moment, but okay. But Maurice gets defensive and said he doesn't even know what he's talking about, said he sounds like Chris Fletcher, and then said that Marsau is lying, and Marsau lies all the time. Maurice, you got real defensive. It gave that you really liked Kimmi, you wanted to be with Kimmi, and you tolerated her son. That's what it gave. And now that little boy felt it, and now that he's a grown-ass man, and he really don't fuck with you like that, now you're wondering, oh, well, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Did I fail as a parent? You know that you failed. You know that you did, and you really don't care. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.